Hey guys, what is up? It is Greg here from Personal Evolution. Today coming at you with another fundamental crypto analysis video, and today we're looking at Cardano, everyone's favorite new coin apparently. So yeah, we'll cover what it is, how it works, and yeah, what could happen with it in the long run. We're going to take a venture capital look at this like we normally do, and that's going to require using a trusty PowerPoint with our business model analysis. So we're going to take a look at a couple of things: product or protocol, use case, market potential, traction, all the good stuff, and then take a look at the price and see whether it's something we should be investing in right now. So if that sounds good, please stay to the end and we'll jump right into it. Cool, so this is the business model analysis we've been using. I've just put Cardano in the middle. Let me make that a bit smaller. Yeah, to just show that this is the flywheel that any layer one solution is using. So this is adapted from A16Z's Economics Flywheels for Crypto. I suggest you check that out if you really want to take a deep dive into this, or one of the other videos. But as always, we're going to start off by looking at the protocol, see what it's all about, what technically it's good for, not good for, at a very high level. Then we'll take a look at the investors and how that's contributed to their initial token price. Then we'll take a look at miners and validators, whether it's growing or shrinking in terms of who's been staking on the platform and stuff like that. Then looking at dev resources, how many third-party developers are putting time and effort into building useful applications for this, which we should hopefully see in there for the user numbers and what community has sprung up around this protocol. Finally, we'll take a look at the founders and then we will make a judgment call. Cool, so let us start with how Cardano actually works. So Cardano, or ADA as the coin is known, operates on its own blockchain called the Cardano settlement layer. This was released in the roadmap under Byron, which we'll get to in a second. So this was the first installment. All we need to know about this is the CSL is the accounting layer and supports the general ledger transactions. So this was really the launch of Cardano when this launched. A bit later, they launched the Cardano computing layer, which handles all the smart contracts and dApps, and that was released during Shelley and Gogun. I'll have to check how we say that name. But yeah, so that's where the main Cardano application is up to. In addition, there is also KMZ sidechains. KMZ is a specific company. I can't even remember what it stands for, but they're building kind of sidechains onto the Cardano applications to allow different projects to use the central settlement layer for stuff. So this architecture is quite cool because it allows for soft forks. It was a real problem in the early days of, and still is a problem, in Ethereum, Bitcoin. We have Bitcoin Cash and Ethereum Classic and stuff like that. That was the result of hard forks. This architecture allows for soft forks, which I think is much better for the overall health of the developer ecosystem and stuff like that. So all good there. Check out this CryptoVat Volute 24 if you want to check out what he has to say about it. It is in Italian though. Yeah, just bear that in mind. So yes, I was chucking out names earlier, but this is the Cardano roadmap. Byron was the foundational tech when the coin was initially released. Shelley's focused on decentralization and building an autonomous community. Gogun focused on adding smart contracts and that sort of stuff to the system. Bashu and Voltaire will then focus on scaling and governance, respectively. I believe we're kind of working on all these things at the same time. I think the foundation is done, but I think all the rest of them are in progress as far as I understood from the roadmap. Again, check it out yourself if you want to know more. But yes, suffice to say that progress is being made. So yeah, so back to our business model. We have a scalable two-tier system. It's interoperable, and one of the key things that is mentioned literally everywhere when you look at Cardano is the fact that the protocol and the systems within it have been peer-reviewed. And I think I was listening to Charles Hodgkinson, who is the founder, we'll come on to him in a second, talk about it the other day. I think it's been peer-reviewed at something like 900 times, but someone may want to check that fact for me. So on to investors who bring the funding. All I could find was that there was one ICO that raised 63 million, and yeah, that's been it. So not the crazy hodgepodge of investment that the team at Polkadot has or anything like that, but yeah, just quite simple initial coin offering to the public, 63 million. We'll talk about where that's gone in a second. So next on to the miners and validators. So you'll find this a lot with Cardano. There's all these nice pictures of how different stuff works, which I find that ultimately are quite confusing, but you need to really look into it to understand it better. So Cardano is a proof of stake system that runs a hybrid consensus mechanism called Ouroboros. Check it out in the wiki. It's quite advanced, and staking happens a bit differently. They take snapshots at the end of each epochs. As far as I understood, epochs are like just different kind of time periods, and it's about 5 days for each epoch. And at the end of that day, at the end of that epoch, if there is staked coins in a wallet, you'll get a staking kind of reward. Yeah, Cardano is one of the highest staked currencies with 73% of the tokens staked. Most of these are done through pools, and you can look into that more. There's like a luck mechanism that works out who gets the lead staker, as it were. And if you pool your resources together, it's often you raise your chances of being that kind of lead person. So a lot of these are staked through pools that take a certain percentage of the cut when stuff is staked. It's quite a weird and wonderful system. I didn't totally understand it myself, but I think you can only understand it yourself if you go through this. Interestingly, the other cryptocurrencies on here, Polkadot, Avalanche, Terra, Algorand, they've all been on a tear recently. Not that the whole crypto market hasn't, but yeah, you can see the different amounts of staked progress they've made. Ethereum's right down, but yeah. So that's one of the more centralized systems as far as we care, or centralized or proof of work sort of thing. So that Ethereum 2.0 is still in beta, I think, so it hasn't been released yet. So that's probably why it's so low. But yeah, interesting to note that the rest are on there are quite high in the amount of decentralization they have, apart from notably Terra. But yeah, so you can check all this data out. I'll leave it in the link in the comments below. So miners and validators. Yep, we're looking good for miners and validators. I'll come back to whether that's been growing in a second. Yes, I believe it's on this slide. So in terms of developers, Cardano had 100 devs in 2019 and gained more developers by 2020. We're looking at Q3 to Q3. In terms of how many that actually was, you can see here, and if you can make out this pink line, it intersects with South on CeeLo. But the Cardano one has been growing steadily over time since its first commit. Nowhere near as fast as Polkadot and Ethereum or even Cosmos for that matter. So Cardano's pretty average among the top lot. In terms of developers, we can look at the Electric Capital report and see that Cardano has in fact gained developers since between Q3 2019 and Q3 2020. Again, this is the latest information that Electric had at the time. So hopefully this has changed in our favor. In terms of how many developers that actually is, if we take a look at this crazy chart, Cardano's just down here, which is the average among the top lot of layer 1 protocols. So since first commit in terms of monthly active developers, Cardano's pretty average. It's interesting to see that Polkadot is right at the top there and Ethereum is here, but maybe it's a sign of the time, but Cardano again lagging a fair bit. In terms of how that actually looks in reality, Cardano is down here, this tiny pink line you can barely see. Yeah, it's making progress. It's ahead of kind of Monero, stuff like that, but it's massively lagging Polkadot, which Charles Hodgkinson jokes about them taking their technology. So is that a sign that Polkadot are executing much better on the technology of Cardano, or that Cardano is just being too slow for a lot of developers? I don't know. It's your call there. What else have we got? Yes, a bit of positive news on the development front. Cardano is up there with 761 average weekly commits. This is from a more recent analysis done by Outlier Ventures. I'll leave a link to the report below of 2020 as a whole. And yeah, as you can see, Cardano is the second most active. In terms of core development, we have seen a slow decline in Cardano, but this time it's the blue line. That's slowly but relatively pretty stable compared to some of these other ones that are losing stuff. So yeah, not much really to take from there. So looking at different people that are involved in Cardano, we have the core organizations in the top, but they do seem to be making some headway into various different things. So we had New Balance, we had Beef Chain, which is probably one of the more notable ones, a load of different kind of partners and startups building on the tech. This was March 2021, so hopefully that's all good. We have some new community tools popping up. So if you want to do more research, I'd definitely check these out. In terms of research, they have a strong connections to loads of universities and research centers, including conferences. And yeah, you can dig into each one of these in your own time, but I thought it was just worth looking at this. It's something that Charles, the founder, tweeted out a while back, and I thought it was interesting. Coty has been getting a lot of love in recent times, so I'll probably be looking into that in a future video. But yeah, on top of that, we shall look at the ADA delegation monitor. I'll leave a link to this tweet in below. I think this goes to show the number of the amount of delegated wallets, goes to show what we were talking about with the validators earlier. And we can see this is increasing and increasing. The same with the number of ADA wallets. It's just been listed on Coinbase. So yeah, we'd expect this to be growing quite fast, but it is really chunking along quite nicely, getting somewhere between 1,000 and 10,000 wallets a day, which is great progress, really. We see the number of staked delegated wallets, so the ones that are staked, keeps on rising, and that's in line with the billions of ADA staked as well. The one that's going down over here is nothing to worry about. It's actually a good thing, because the average ADA per delegated wallet, the numbers that staked, is reducing. So what that means is the system is actually becoming more decentralized as retail investors, so smaller holders, are staking their tokens, which is great news for the network, really. So yeah, I hope that gives you an idea of the kind of growth we're looking at. Let me pull up ADA wallets. Cool. And yeah, that kind of brings me on to, oops, my animations are a bit out of whack there. But that kind of brings me on to the founders. So the founders, Charles Hodgkins, that's that chap there. He's founder of IOHK, which is Input Output Hong Kong. They are one of the three core teams to develop on this. So Hodgkinson's development agency is IOHK. Cardano Foundation, I mentioned earlier that they did an ICO for 63 million. That's where that money went, really, into the foundation to then be distributed. And the other main partner to mention is Emergo, which is a Japanese company that acts as an incubator for the various projects. I haven't really dug too much into these guys, but suffice to say they're all contributing to the ecosystem in different ways. So let's take a look. On the whole, this is our kind of flywheel that's left. I mentioned everything here, so let's move on to our kind of summary. So pros, hugely decentralized and academic approach, 900 peer reviews. The protocol scales well because of the sidechains and the two-layer implementation. And it's also not hyped up with an Elon Musk type person, really a marketing genius at the head. So I like this phrase that Alex Becker used, who's another great YouTube channel to watch. The CEO is slowly plodding towards great long-term potential. In terms of cons, I've put some stuff here that I probably haven't mentioned. Haskell plus Plutus is the programming language of Cardano. So we have to learn a new language if we want to implement it if you want to work directly on the system. The whole system as well is still effectively in test. It's not released, and it's slow at 257 transactions per second, which is something that I can't remember, was it Bashu should address, but it's been very slow progress from the team on the whole. Oh, sorry, I just realized my face is obscuring that. There you go. And the final thing I noted was Input Output Hong Kong is split across many different crypto projects. So it's not just Cardano that it works on. So all of these were kind of red flags for me looking at it. There's still some huge potential here. And if you take a look more into the details, there's some great stuff. And I'd strongly advise you do that. Let's talk about the price. Like I say, lots of potential, but I feel that we really need to see the team start to deliver consistently. They keep pushing back deadlines. In terms of the price recently, it is shot up. So in terms of short-term risk, it just got listed. So we're probably buying at kind of peak times if you're looking at a short-term play. So that's always something to consider when you're buying into these things. What's just happened, what's coming up, and yeah, just be mindful of this. So yeah, I think rounding off, that's really my take on Cardano. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if I've got stuff wrong, or if you want to add some things that I've missed, please let me know in the comments and I'll try and incorporate them when I do a follow-up video on this. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. If you could please leave me a subscribe, that would really help this channel find some new people. And yeah, really just keep cracking on with the crypto stuff. It's really interesting doing this, and so hopefully you've enjoyed the journey as much as I have, and I'm excited to see where these projects go. All right, nice one.